congressman who represents the Rust Belt, Indiana Republican Jim Banks. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Great to be with you.
So for your constituents in Indiana, the Rust Belt, is this a green dream, as AOC said?
Well, if you like bacon or flying on airplanes, you're not going to like this bill. All of us on Capitol Hill are looking for a little bit of comic relief, and I think we found it in this bill, but it wouldn't be funny if it went into law. This would kill jobs. This would make it far more expensive to pay for your utilities and energy costs. At the end of the day, this bill would literally lead to tearing down every home and building in this country and rebuilding it to make it environmentally friendly. It's pretty radical, and even Nancy Pelosi knows that, but this shows how far to the radical left the Democrat Party is being drugged by the likes of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others in the Democrat Party, and it's a dangerous thing.
As you mentioned, this isn't a bill, it's a non-binding resolution, so at this point it would do very little. But let's take a look at some of the specifics that are in it at this point. The Green New Deal goals, so to speak. It would meet 100% of the power demand through clean and renewable energy sources. A total overhaul of transportation where air travel stops becoming necessary. And I heard one of the representatives from Hawaii said that wouldn't really work for them. Would provide economic security to all who are unable or willing to work. So you don't want to work and we'll just give you some money. Massively expand clean manufacturing, upgrade or replace every building, as you said, in the U.S. for state-of-the-art energy efficiency. You know, all of these like pie-in-the-sky plans, no way to pay for it, though.
That's right. That's the irony. The Democrats aren't willing to give up $5.6 billion to build a wall, but they are interested in something that would drastically bankrupt this country and bankrupt the pocketbooks of tax-paying Americans and folks back home in districts like mine. Not only is our country today growing manufacturing jobs at a pace that we haven't seen at any point in my lifetime, but we're finally energy independent as well, and that's something the president spoke about in his State of the Union address. Why would we want to backtrack from that? But that's the radicalism of the Democrat Party today that wants to take us in that direction. It's a dangerous move. After the last election, I was pessimistic about winning back the majority anytime soon, but every time Democrats introduce something like this, it's more and more likely the Republicans are going to be back in the majority in 2 short years than even what I thought just weeks or months ago.
Yeah, they do seem to be wanting to just, throw up barriers along the way when it comes to any of the successes of the president. And speaking of barriers, we did hear last night that there was this possible major breakthrough that could come with lawmakers on this border deal. It could include an actual physical wall, and it would be about, what, $1.3 billion for border barriers, walls, or fencing, perhaps $1.6 billion, which is what the Senate number had, or just north of there. What do you know about that, and are you hopeful?
I'm as hopeful as ever. The president made a great case in the State of the Union for not just a wall, but for more dollars, for technologies, for more Border Patrol agents, for more security at points of entry. He made that case as eloquently as he ever has in his State of the Union address. And the pressure of the American people on the Democrats to act, to come to the table, to compromise, which the president has been willing to do all along, was felt immediately after the State of the Union address. So I feel like we're headed down the right track. The conference committee has been meeting this week for several hours this week to try to bring some consensus and compromise to this process, and I am hopeful that we're well on our way to that.
You mentioned the technology that the president had talked about, and that's part of what the Democrats wanted when they refer to this smart wall, but then at the same time they're saying, but no physical barrier. But now apparently we have some sort of agreement between the two, the smart wall, which would include drones and new technology, and then in some areas, actual physical barrier.
This is what compromise looks like. The president was always willing to go down this track. If you recall, Nancy Pelosi said that she wasn't willing to compromise at all from day one. Now that the Democrats are faced with another shutdown looming over their heads, they don't want to be blamed for that again after feeling the heat from the last shutdown. They're willing to come to the table and talk about other ways that we can secure the border, which includes more funding for building a wall. I'm glad to see that we've made some progress on that. And we need to get this deal done to stop the chances of another government shutdown occurring in just a few days.
Yeah, we do not need that. Well, Congressman Banks from the great state of Indiana joining us this morning. We certainly appreciate your time so early.
Great to be with you.
All right.
Thank you.